So welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Miranda Daly. I'm the marketing and event coordinator at The Conductor. We're an entrepreneurial support organization. We do things like one-on-one consultations, webinars, outreach like today, anything you could think of at no cost for your small business or your small business venture, or if you're an entrepreneur. Ed is actually a graduate of our 10X Accelerator, so I bet he'd be happy to talk about that. We're in the Makerspace today. It is run by The Conductor, but it's here on UCA campus since we are a public-private partnership with them. And here you can 3D print, laser engrave, use our CNC machine, any tools you see, and that's also at no cost. So today for our startup stories, we're joined by Ed Link of Barham's Ozark Beef, and I'll hand it over to him so you can learn how to be a beef snob.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Man, standing room only. That's pretty cool. I get early. I was like, man, I don't think anybody's showing up. Thank you guys so much for being here. I've been involved with Conway now for quite some time. I worked at the Conway Chamber of Commerce before getting into the entrepreneurial world. So I've had a good relationship with the Arkansas Conductor for quite a while. So going through that 10X Accelerator for me was a huge deal. So I've never... if you guys get into business, if you're not already, to sit down for 3 hours every week and just think about your business is time you do not set aside. At least I haven't. Maybe it's talking for me, but that alone was a big deal for me, and it's allowed us to see some things that we didn't see before that would allow us to grow. And so I want to really appreciate Jeff and Glenn and the whole Conductor team for all that they did for that 10X Accelerator. That was a big deal for us. Also, when I was at the Chamber, one of my favorite events, and I bring this up because it's February. What's February? Valentine's and Black History Month. It's both. But one of my favorite events we ever did was the Minority Entrepreneur Night. We had minority entrepreneurs come up and give their presentations, their business pitch. The winner got $1,000. I mean, it was a big deal. And it was one of the events I'm more proud of out of all that we've done. Ricky G, I know you were there for all of them, so I appreciate your support with that. So I've always loved that event. And also congratulations on the new building. I hear you get keys coming up pretty soon. So congratulations, that's a big deal for the community. And I can't wait to figure out which corner office I'm going to go in, right? Did I just pick one? Is that how it works?
I'll get the conference room.
Yeah, I'll get the conference room for like 5 minutes. Get out. So real quick about Barham's Ozark Beef. We started in 2019. It's a family farm. We raise cattle, and it's, our mission is to provide all natural, pasture-raised, sweet potato and corn-fed, USDA-inspected beef to our clients all over the state. And we work with individuals and families. We haven't really gotten into the commercial side. That's something we talked a lot about at the 10X Accelerator, what that next step is for us, and maybe that is the next step, but right now it's just individuals, and we're happy with that. Now I did mention family, so I've got to talk about my family. Where do I point?
At the computer. The other one behind you.
There, this one here? Alright, we'll go like this. Did I do anything? Uh-oh. Well, I've got a picture of my family somewhere. And so I've got a wife and a 5-year-old daughter named Catalina, who's just amazing. She is a riot. And then 2 weeks ago, we had a little baby girl named Lucy. So I'm running on caffeine and sugar right now. I've had 0 sleep, and that's okay. I love her, and it's well worth it. So that's Catalina. You see the fear and excitement in her eyes. And then my wife snapped that picture on the right. That's just a beautiful picture to me. So anyway, we've got a growing family, and I think the growing's over. I think now it's just people getting older now. I think the numbers are good for now. Then if you go back one, so on the left is Charlie, my stepdad. He is the Barham's of Barham's Ozark Beef. He is the one that raises the cattle. My mom is on his arm. That's Linda Barham. They married when I was about 10 or 11, so Charlie's been in our family for a long time, and we're really happy that he is. He's an amazing guy. And then you see my wife, Mariana, who, she doesn't look like everybody else. She's half Chinese, half Mexican, so dinners are outstanding at our house. and just the overall culture that I can't wait to see what Catalina and Lucy get into when they're older, because they have so many different influences on their lives that I have no clue what they're going to like and not like. So this is our team. These are the folks that got Barham's Ozark Beef off the ground and running and continuing today. And so we'll kind of get into how all that works as we go. For me, and we go the last slide. I decided not to do a long slideshow, but I hope you guys are okay with that, because I hate it whenever somebody's like, if you look here, I didn't want to do that. So for me, I grew up in Conway. I was one of those jocks. I played every sport that the season, if there was a season for it, I was playing it. That's all I cared about growing up. Went out to college and played baseball at Conner State College in Oklahoma. Then went to Northwestern State in Louisiana at Natchitoches. 20 years ago, I graduated college. That's hard to believe, but that's true. And then came back to, so my career, have you ever seen one of those word clouds that has a bunch of words on them? That's my resume. And I thought about doing that, like putting all the different careers I've had. And I haven't had just different jobs within a career. Like I've had completely different careers. So I started out in insurance and financial services with Northwestern Mutual. Then I went into banking with Eagle Bank. Then I went into the Chamber of Commerce world, the Little Rock Chamber. Then I went into logistics, because that makes sense, at LTS Logistics. And then into warehousing with Target. And then commercial real estate in Irvine, California, because I knew a lot about commercial real estate. So I've just dove into things that I probably didn't have any business doing, but man, it looked really cool. And I felt like I could make it. And I just had this confidence that it was probably undeserved to go ahead and go do it. And so coming back to Barham's Ozark Beef, when I look at all the things I've learned through the years, through those jobs, almost all of it is relevant to this business. Risk management, yeah, that's a big deal. Banking, I better know how to run the financials. Of course, I had to get 10X to help me a lot with that. Thank you, Glenn, because I hadn't done a lot of that in a while. It's been about 15 years. And then just being involved with the community, and then logistics. Man, that's become a big deal. Trying to figure out how to properly get things ready to deliver to the customer. And so, even though in the process I didn't really understand the direction my career was going, now it kind of makes sense. So that's kind of a fun fact about me. One of the other things, I've got to be around a lot of entrepreneurs. And for me, that was fun. That was exciting. It was invigorating to hear about their stories. And they weren't always good. I mean, someone's like, I had to close my business because fill in the blank, and it is normally, it was a lot of times a train wreck. And I try to avoid those. You learn those lessons from the stories you hear and hope you avoid those. And maybe I'll have a couple things I can share with you that you might take home with you today. But also heard a lot of the great stories about, man, I get to do what I want to do every day. I'm independent. I've got my own dress code. I get to wear a t-shirt to a fancy, lunch like this because, the sacrifice I made to get a business running. So I understood the risk, but also, my wife, she is a scientist. She's got a PhD in material science, and so she has a really good job in Europe. She works from home. I mean, she's a top mind for heart valves and cardiovascular medical devices. And so having her and I together, that also kind of alleviates some of that risk that if I were a single man in my 20s trying to make it, I probably wouldn't have the same kind of support and appetite for risk. But because she's got this stable career, as a couple, we made the decision, okay, let's go ahead and take this risk and see where it goes. So I got really lucky that she loves me and I love her when it comes to that piece of it, because having that stability is great. And I know we've got some college students here from CBC in Katya's class, Katya just got her PhD 2 years ago, and she's doing great. So education pays off, guys. It really does. All right. So we lived in California when we met. We got pregnant with our first kid, decided, hey, let's go live near family. Well, all my family's in Conway, and she's got some family in Little Rock, so Conway won out instead of Boston, Seattle, or San Antonio, where her family is. And so we get here. I've got the job at the chamber. She's at home with Catalina for a couple years. And I'm around all these entrepreneurs, and I keep thinking, man, how cool would it be to buy a business that already exists and then try to make it better? Keep the people, keep the experts, keep the people who know what they're doing, And maybe it's one of those old-timey businesses that doesn't have a website yet. You know, that technology, you know, that's for the birds. You know, find one of those businesses that just hasn't really entered this century yet. Of course, most of them have at this point. But I did find one. It was an old motel up near the White River that was for sale for like $250,000. Of course, we didn't have that laying around, but so maybe I can work something out. So we went up there and actually did a full audit of their books and tried to figure out, is this motel, is this business worth the money they're asking for? If it's not, can I make it worth the money they're asking for? And how long would that take? And so I spent hours with the owners, and they were nice enough to let me do this. And I realized that, okay, this thing's overpriced by probably $100,000, $150,000. To do this, we'd really need to live here, work here, fix it up. And we decided to pass on the deal. But just going through the motions of, am I going to buy this business or not? And if I am, how am I going to do that? I guess I'll call Scott. He'll hook me up with some money. So that was a good exercise for us. So even if you're thinking about it, not sure, man, every now and then you need to go through that exercise. You know, recently we're thinking about opening a retail space. Well, what does that cost? Well, all right, let's get on the phone with the broker, see what the real estate's looking like, and then also, what does insurance cost? You can't just open the doors and people walk in and not have insurance, because if they trip and fall, they're going to sue you for everything you own. And so you need insurance. Well, now, what else am I going to sell other than beef to keep the lights on? Because I don't have enough beef to keep all the lights on, maybe half of them. But electric bill, they want you to pay the whole thing, not just half of it, you know? So, you know, going through the exercise of learning those numbers was really valuable for us on a couple of occasions to make better decisions for what we're going to do next. So, so at the Chamber of Commerce, we had an annual retreat in Dallas where the whole staff went and we spent a couple days together. One day for lunch, we go to a food court. It was one of those nice food courts, you know, it had like really nice stuff. This is a nice place. Well, they had this barbecue, like brisket, hamburger place, and I thought, man, that's it, because, you know, Brad likes to go to all these fancy restaurants that don't have barbecue brisket or hamburgers, so I went there. So I'm sitting in line, I look over to my left, there's a poster, and on that poster is a picture of a farmer and his farm and his cows, and here's a whole thing about where this restaurant gets their beef. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Charlie has cows. We could do something like that. And I just kind of tucked it away. Didn't hardly think about it for a couple months after that. But it was still stirring in there somewhere that, hey, this is a possibility. So we had people over at our house. Mom and Charlie were there. And Charlie and I just kind of get off on a conversation about cattle. And I asked him, I said, have you ever thought about a farm-to-table business? And he said no. But he's seen other people do it, and they've done pretty well with it. He's always been a guy that's raised cattle, or raising calves, and go sell them at the sale barn. Has anybody been to a sale barn? You got the auctioneer going, hey, hey, yeah, I love it. It's fun. I've only been a couple times, but it was kind of cool when I went. So that's all he's ever done. That's all he's known. Well, I don't know anything about beef except to eat it. And so, you know, I'm the worst partner for him because I have zero experience in this. But I have experience of building things, promoting things, marketing, community work, all that. So there's some skill sets there that can really fit any genre of business, and including beef, apparently. So he says, work up the numbers, figure out what they are, and then we'll talk about it. So I spent a couple weeks researching every farmer around Arkansas that sells beef in bulk, you know, quarters, halves, wholes. And I started I got a spreadsheet all their pricing. You know, did it include the processing costs? Did it include USDA inspections? Did it include delivery? Just trying to really get a good grasp of the pricing landscape for beef. So I got my numbers. We met with Charlie in my living room at the house that we moved here from California from. And we started talking about it. And he's like, I think we can do that. And so we figured out the splits, because neither one of us have done this. We don't know what we're doing. We're just guessing. This is all guessing. There's nobody that says, hey, this is how you run a cattle business, or here's how you do a farm-to-table business. There's none of that. This is all just learning as we go. And we had to be okay with that. And we had to accept that, hey, this may not work out exactly how we want to, but it's okay. We'll adjust along the way and get better as we go. So we start at $4 a pound, and that's on the hanging weight. So if you ever bought beef in bulk, the hanging weight is after the first round of processing. So If the hanging weight's 600 pounds, you're going to lose about 30% of that, and that'll be your take-home weight for the beef that you buy. Okay, so we do all the pricing on hanging weight because we get that 2 weeks before we have to deliver, and so we can tell the client, hey, your beef costs this much, because they don't know what it costs until we know what the hanging weight is. There's no way to know. And so we did $4 a pound, and just to give you an idea of how low I was on my pricing, we now charge $5.35 a pound. So that's $1.35 difference. Our average hanging weight last year was 557 pounds. So do the math on how much we're missing per cow. That's a lot of money. And we did 30 cows last year and I think 67 this year. No, 50 this year, 30 the year before. That's a lot of money that we just left on the table because my research wasn't spot on. But we learned, we adjusted, we kept going. So after about probably 6 months, I bumped it up to $4.50 a pound, and then most recently $5.35 a pound to make it where it really needs to be. So, so he agrees. He says, okay, you get 2 cows in October, 2 cows in November, 2 in December. I said, all right, what do I do? I've got these cows coming. Had to call the processor. Hey, can you guys even get us in on these dates? And they could. So all right, we got the processing. Well, we got to put it in a box. You know, you can't just go pick up a bunch of packs of meat. You know, box company, Wonder State Box. Hey, can you give me some boxes? Yeah, we can get you. Where do you want them delivered? Oh, you deliver them? Oh, go to Cypress Valley in Pottsville. That'd be great. All right, cool. I don't have a website. WordPress. I've done WordPress before. I've got little crappy websites for my baseball. I used to teach, or I still teach baseball lessons because you know I need both right now. I've got a side gig for my side gig. So, you know, I had a little bit of experience in WordPress, so I could at least get something up to broadcast, hey, we're here, Barham's OzarkBeef.com, tied it to that site. Facebook, I've got a lot of friends on Facebook, maybe they'll buy something from me. So let's get a Facebook page and invite everybody to it, share it. I mean, I was probably sharing Barham's Ozark Beef stuff daily for a long time. I was probably the most annoying guy on Facebook. You don't want to like overload people. It just gets annoying after a while. And so I tried to back off once I had a pretty good client base so that, you know, every now and then, hey, we got something available. A couple weeks later, hey, we got something available. So anyway, so a lot of this is DIY. So I've become a graduate of YouTube University because if I ever had any question whatsoever, how do I do this plugin? You know, what's the best plugin for shipping? What's this? You know, how do I get the Google reviews on my website? So I had to learn all these things because I didn't have the money just to go pay Glenn or somebody to do it. I just didn't have it. It wasn't there. It didn't exist. And so I had to bootstrap it. And man, I know IT professional, but I've started to learn some things, you know, just not to be dangerous. WooCommerce was another one I had to figure out, and that's been a big help for all the online sales. So, first client, my dad and my stepmom. All right, Dad and Susan. Bought a half beef. I'm like, man, a half beef? Now I have like 1.5 left to sell. Well, my coworker, Cecilia Elliott, she bought a quarter. Oh, man. A couple people from the chamber that are members that I knew from the pipeline group, which I helped start over there, they bought some. Next thing you know, I'm already into November. And I just can't believe it. People are buying art. This is expensive. I mean, this is like $600. It's here, $600. They have that kind of money, you know, for beef. This is great. I just didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. I just had no idea. But I knew that Charlie was really good at what he does. And this is something I kind of talk about later. He's an expert at raising cattle. He's one of the best in the state, no doubt about it. So partnering with somebody who's really good at what they do, and then my skill set complements theirs, that's great. I never go to the farm. Maybe once or twice a year I go to the farm. Well, he's never going to sit behind the computer and put together a Facebook post with me. You know? He does what he does. I do what I do. We trust each other more than you can trust anybody, and it just works. And it's been really fun working with him. But then you sprinkle in, you know, some really good advice from my wife and my mom, and good ideas all just start brewing. Next thing you know, we've got some really cool stuff going on. So we did good. We did good. That first little run was successful, and so we're off and running. Charlie says, hey, Ed, I've got 3 coming to you in May. This is 2020. So those first 6 are 19. The next round's coming in 2020. I got 3 coming in May. Well, 3 is half of what I've already sold. Like, to me, that was a lot. But then he says, I have 8 in June. Holy crap. That's, one lesson we've done total at this point. Like, it freaks me out. And then 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2. So it was 30 total. What happens in February, March of 2020? COVID hits. I mean, that's why I'm wearing the mask. I want to rip this off so bad, but I told my wife, I'm keeping on. I know you can't see, sorry guys, you can't see my face, but, to us, it's a big deal to stay protected from it because her family's had a really hard time with it. Shelves start going dry at the grocery store. All the meat's gone. Supply chain issues. We're here. But guess what happens? We start getting phone calls left and right. Next thing you know, those 3 are sold in May, and I'm talking like a month in advance. And then June, I'm thinking we're never going to sell out of June. Well, June, gone, sold. We get to where we have a 2 to 3 month waiting list because of what was going on with COVID. So you talk about, it's an awkward luck. It's an awkward, I hate that all that was happening, but at the same time, it drove a lot of people to shop local for their food. And we just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Just happened to be. And we knew that once people tasted our beef, they're not going to go anywhere else. They're coming back. It's too good. I mean, I'm trying to brag. I mean, it is very good. And actually, that kind of leads me to my next point, the whole beef snob thing. So that's been fun. We've enjoyed this. Our clients enjoy being called beef snobs. They wear it with pride. They post and put the hashtag beef snob. We had a situation, it's one of only a few errors that the processor made. They messed up some ground beef for one of our clients. And so we happened to have some ground beef in our stock at home. So I replaced the bad ground beef with the good ground beef, and the processor gave us ground beef from some other farm. We don't know who it is. We assumed it was good. I mean, it's farm raised, whatever. Well, Mariana goes to cook it. We're cooking spaghetti. I'm talking sauce, noodles, the whole 9 yards. And we're sitting down, we say our prayer, we're about to turn on the voice. My wife takes a bite and spits it out like a 7-year-old would spit out broccoli. Okay, it was, my PhD, beautiful, smart, loving wife was spitting food out on her table that she prepared, but it was the meat. She was so used to Barham's Ozark beef that she just didn't like the other ground beef. And next thing you know, we had our first beef snob. And I can't remember, I wish I remembered how it exactly went. I don't know if she said it first or one of us said it first. And we don't debate about that a lot. It's not like a point of contention between us, but somebody said beef snob. The next thing you know, we're like, beefsnob.com, oh, it's available. What about at beef snobs on Facebook? And so we just started grabbing beef snob stuff, and this is what we're going to go forward with. Has anybody bought a domain that's kind of short, precise, like beefsnob.com? Holy cow, it's expensive. Like, I'm used to $17.99 a year, $9.99 a year, not $2,100. That's what it was from beefsnob.com. Holy crap. Now, we hadn't had any expenses like this for something we didn't have to have. And I'm sharing numbers, I probably shouldn't, but I am, because you're going to run into this if you guys are getting into business for yourself. That was a big deal. Like, we didn't have that kind of money just laying around. I could come up with it, but it would have really cramped our style in other places. So I told my dad, I was like, hey, man, can you believe that beefsnob.com costs this? And well, I'll buy it for you. No. I don't want you, you're not getting, I don't want you buying anything like that. So then I'm teaching a baseball lesson or softball lesson to this guy who's also an entrepreneur in town, Lane Goodman. And I told him about, beefsnob.com, golly, it's like $2,100. I'll buy it for you. Just pay me back. I'm like, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing. But after 2 people said, hey, I will buy it for you. It's that good of an idea that I will buy it for you. You pay me back whenever. I was kind of like, all right. So Mariana sat down. We just said, maybe we just need to do this. And so, that's how big we did. It's like we're going to go buy a house. That's what it felt like, the weight of it. And so we did. We bought beefsnob.com, and that's our landing page now. And of course, we've got some gear and hats. And we've kind of surrounded, our entire marketing is Beef Snob at this point, and we've become known as that. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. Going out and somebody, hey, Beef Snob, hey. Because I wear this pretty much every day now. This and the hoodie. The hoodie I've worn, I think, 14 days in a row, and I've washed it once. Don't tell anybody. All right. So then we get into protecting the name Beef Snob. We need a trademark, right? because I was told we need to have a trademark. So we went after the national trademark for Beef Snob. Again, a pretty big, hefty paycheck or check going out. Jason Owens Law Firm did a great job. Brooklyn Parker over there has been awesome. Jason's awesome. So shout out to them. We didn't get the national trademark, but that also means other people can't get it either. But it was too close to jerky snob and kebab snob. I'm like, come on, man. That's not, they're separate. They're separate. You could have given us that. But we did get the state trademark. Arkansas gave us beef snob. So we are protected here. So when we do produce articles of clothing and whatever we end up doing with beef snob, we do have some level of protection that other people can't do that. So that made us feel good about the whole beef snob thing. All right, so moving on. All right, in 2020 we bought a freezer trailer. Okay, because you can only get so many chest freezers in your garage before your wife says that's enough. Because we have 3, and it started at 5 cubic feet, and we went up to 15 cubic feet, and then my grandma Ann gave me like a 25-foot, where you hide the bodies freezer, and that was probably enough for our garage to handle. It was just we gotta get cars in there too, and so we looked online, found these really nice freezers that you can buy. They're on wheels. Like, well, that's cool. I can drive it up to the processor, put the beef in there, go deliver it, and well, then it turns out there's a slow season for beef. Did you know that? A time when people don't buy a lot of beef? I didn't know that. I was still processing, man. Keep it coming. But apparently January, February, March, it starts to slow down. Turkey, deer, especially around here, deer, that fills up a lot of freezers. Well, I need freezer space. And if your freezer's full, you're not going to buy from me. And so there are 2 things that happened. One, we figured out, hey, we need to have a smaller amount of beef available for people to sell. And that's when the Beef Snob Sampler was born. And that's about 30 pounds of beef. You can get it into a regular refrigerator. It's still going to take up a lot of room, but it's doable. Then the second thing was we needed a way to offload inventory. And so we looked around and found the Conway Farmers Market. And I did not know the impact that was going to have on our business when we started, but it's been a huge, I wish I had beef to give away. That's a question I have to give away. I've got a brochure to give away. What percentage of our business do you think the Conway Farmers Market provided us last year? In our overall revenue, what percentage was born from the Conway Farmers Market? In the first year. What was it? 30. You get a brochure. Here. Pass that. That's like gold right there. So yeah, 30% in the first year. I couldn't believe it. But there's a spread there that I just didn't really think about that much, because when you buy quarter beef, you're buying it about let's call it $8 a pound retail. Well, there I could sell ribeye for $25 or $23 a pound. My ground beef is at $8 a pound. That's what a quarter is. And so I just found the spread so much better, so we could actually profit more. And that led us to think, well, maybe we need to have a retail location, brick and mortar. But that was the pendulum swinging too far for right now, because the overhead would be so expensive it'd take away our profit. So that farmer's market for us is a nice little sweet spot for us to do that and the bulk beef. So we get in the farmer's market. I show up not knowing what to do. Like, I just bought everything the week before. I had to get a square reader, a tent, a sign, tables, our tablecloth. Who else been there at the farmer's market and bought from us? Yes. So that's the thing that goes over your comforter on the bed. What's that called? Duvet. So that's a duvet. That's not a tablecloth. That was in our closet. We had a duvet that looked kind of farmy, so we used that. I'm telling you, man, it was pieced together, but it worked. Unfortunately, my wife has a good eye for that kind of stuff. And she bought a couple things off Amazon and, spruced it up and made it look nice. Even Jessica Crum, who's a designer, came by when we were at Ace Hardware this past week and was like, "This is nice." I was like, if she thinks it's nice, all right. Mariana did a really good job, And I knew she did, but it was nice to have that reassurance from a designer. So I get out to the farmer's market. I'm ready. first day, where is everybody? It was all right, but I was expecting like constant business. And the next week I'm like, and I'm noticing I don't see anything on Facebook. I don't see any ads. I just don't see much going on. And I started talking to my neighbor, and I'm like, who's running our marketing? And showed me who it was. And so, okay, so I started talking to her about it. She's like, man, I'm overwhelmed. I just can't do it. This is like, I can't get to that and do all the other things I got to do with the family, job and business and all that. So I asked the board, I said, hey, do you mind if I jump in and do some Facebook marketing? I know I've been here for like 2 or 3 weeks. You don't know me. But do you mind if I take over the keys to your Facebook page? And they did. They did some research on me. They found some people that knew me, and they gave me the thumbs up that I'm not going to hijack it and go do something terrible with it. And man, from that point on, I kind of got my thing going with them, and next thing you know, we started having more people. I was promoting each vendor's page and trying to get more followers. Well, guess what? As a new business, what do I need? I need more followers. And so I would do my page last because I didn't want them to think I was, trying to put ours out in front of everybody else. But it did help a great deal. And here's the thing: I was thinking about leaving that farmers market. Don't tell anybody. I was looking at the downtown market. I was looking at the Little Rock market. But then when I looked at the Conway Farmers Market's Facebook page, they had 7,100 people following their page. And I was like, that's like a top 20 page in Conway. I mean, the chamber had 11,000 at the time. I think it was around that. Like 7,000 people in Conway. Man, all right. We got something here. We just need to make it a little bit better. And so things went well, obviously. 30% of our revenue came from there. And then I joined the board, and now I've created a WordPress website. Imagine that. And then got their Google My Business ramped up. Because if you Google Conway Farmers Market, you would see other farmers markets. You would see farmers markets that have closed before you would see ours. But that just wasn't how it's supposed to be. So I'm excited to see what we can do there. Because the other part was I was thinking, we can either help this one grow or attend like 2 or 3 and try to bring in revenue. But what if we just made this one 3 times bigger in my own backyard? Okay, so take that for what you want, but to me, I just see that as a good use of time, and I fully expect this farmers market over the next couple of years to just completely take off to where it's one of the biggest in the state. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. So, go to conwayfarmersmarket.org. Just got that last week. All right, so that kind of gets you to where we are now. The future of our business is still up in the air. A couple things that we think about a lot is increasing the different offerings that we have. So we're looking at bringing pigs on board and selling pork, probably starting as early as July. That's a major market for us because when you think about people who have already bought in bulk from us, they already have the infrastructure. They already have the freezer. That's the biggest thing. Do you have the freezer or not? Are you willing to spend that kind of money on meat or not? Well, all of our bulk clients have those factors going for them. So we think we'll do really well on the pork side. The apparel side, we're having fun with it. So that's step 1, have fun with it. 2, I do think we can make some money with it as it grows over time. On Facebook, I started a group called Beef Snob Nation. I thought it just sounded kind of fun. You know why I did that? I'm not throwing a lot of just random stuff at you, so just go with it. Maybe pick up something, maybe you don't, I don't know. But I'm here, you got a free lunch, so it's all good. So I noticed this lady named Lisa up in the Clinton area. Just random Lisa. And it was like Lisa, beef, then her phone number, and that was her group. So I joined. I was all right. And she sells beef. I want to kind of learn what she does. She's got over 5,000 followers from Clinton. 5,000. Anytime she says, "Hey, I've got 2 beef available. I'll take a half. I'll take a half. I'll take a quarter. I'll take a quarter," and it's gone. I thought, man, I need a group. So Beef Snob Nation was born because also, if I'm doing obviously beef, but then doing apparel, that just seems to make sense. And also, I want people to share recipes and take foodie photos and share them and just have fun with the whole world of beef. Y'all probably getting tired of it. Y'all have to go home and eat chicken, aren't you? After hearing about all this beef. But we're trying to have fun with it. That's, and we are. And so shipping is another problem. I say challenge. It's so expensive to ship. So expensive, especially when you have to have dry ice. You have to have special packaging. So for me to ship $100 worth of beef to Boston to my brother-in-law, it cost another $100 to ship it. So $200 for $100 worth of beef. Well, $100 in my eyes. In his eyes, it may be $1 million because it's so good. But shipping is something I want to do. Rabbit Ridge Farms, they've been a part of the 10X Accelerator. I've had a chance to talk to them so many times because of that program. And they had the same challenges to overcome. And they got to the point where the volume was so strong consistently that the price break started happening and they were actually making money off of shipping food. And I'm still not quite there yet, but I know that's where we can go, hopefully in the near future. But what goes along with that is I need more freezer storage. And so that's something I've talked a lot about at 10X is, where do I put all this meat as I'm preparing it to ship out or go to the farmer's market or retail stores or, other people's retail stores. So there's, and then the retail piece, do we ramp up our online retail and do more shipping? Do we do a brick and mortar and have a location somewhere? Is it our own brick and mortar or is it a corner in somebody else's brick and mortar? So there's all these questions that we still have that even after going through 10X, I'm not quite certain what we're going to do yet. We're going to do something. I just don't know what yet. But we are having a blast. I was thinking about this. I had to drive all day yesterday. I delivered beef to Fort Smith and then Bologna and a couple of places in Conway. And I thought if somebody pulled the plug on our business right now and said, all right, that's it, you're done. You don't get to do this anymore. You got to go get a job or do something else. That's not going to happen. But if it did, I would be very proud of what we've accomplished so far. Like, I feel good about it. My stepdad's enjoying it. I think our families are enjoying it. So even if the plug got pulled today, I would be thrilled with what we've accomplished. Now, we're not done yet. We got more to do. I want to be at least Rabbit Ridge big. I don't know, Petty G Meats is pretty big. I don't know if I want to get that big, but I want to do more than what we're doing now. And I'm excited about the road to get there. It's fun. It's fun. So there's that. So that's kind of our story in a nutshell. I put on here a couple key ingredients, in my opinion, for being an entrepreneur. Because I'm assuming a lot of you guys want to do that. I talked about earlier, partner with people who are smarter than you at certain things. And I'm not saying they're smarter than you as a general, but they may be better at you than with websites or logistics or planning, strategy. Find partners that can help you. Arkansas Conductor is amazing when it comes to that, and that's free. Okay, so definitely take advantage of that. Be around other entrepreneurs and have conversations with them. I've been to hundreds probably of lunch and learns because I worked at Chambers or I was a member of the Chambers, so I was either hosting the lunch and learn, like something like this, or I was attending one. I spoke at one, so this is kind of cool. But go to as many of those you can and learn. Just learn. And out of all this, you might take one thing out of here, and that thing's going to help you run a business and be successful. I hope it does. Maybe there's more. Roll with the punches. It is not going to go smooth. It's just not. Yesterday, I'm at the processor. I'm happy. I'm picking up beef, about to go deliver, make some money. All's good. Processor says, hey, we're going to stop doing quarters in about 60 days. That's like, what would that be? That'd probably be another 30% of my business is quarters. Quarter beef. Whew, all right. We're going to do halves. Okay. Halves are good. And then I can break them down into quarters. So I know I can still do it. But now that's me doing all that versus me paying them to do that. So that's more time off of me when I could have been doing something else. But I didn't cuss them out or anything. I was like, all right, cool. We'll figure it out. So maybe we do a standardized quarter. Maybe we just split things up and sell. Maybe we don't do quarters. Maybe we just do more samplers and then do halves, and that'd be it. So now we've got to think through what the next step is. But I didn't get upset about it. They did a price hike last fall. I understand. Yeah, and I've got to do a price hike now. I just rolled with it. Sometimes you got to roll the punches, and you will get punched. Also, be okay with failure. It's okay. I grew up, like I said, being a jock and playing a lot of baseball. Well, in the Hall of Fame, what do the Hall of Famers hit? What's their batting average? Anybody? 300. 300. So those who don't know baseball, if a hitter went up to hit 10 times and got to hit 3 of those, he's batting 300 or 30%. That means 70%, he was horrible. He's out. He had to go back to the bench. He lost the game 70% of the time. Well, that's what I grew up with. And then you strike out with the bases loaded and disappointed everybody on the team, your family, your girlfriend, all your buddies are up there. But then you got to go out to the field, and they're going to hit a ground ball to you. You know it's going to happen. And if you're still thinking about that failure you had, you're going to make another error, and now you compounded failures. And so one of the things I learned in baseball, and in all sports really, is to compartmentalize those failures. Leave it. Leave it. Do not let it chase you around, and go focus on what's next. You're going to have failures. It's just going to happen. You're going to get punched. It's going to happen. But if you can compartmentalize that and move on, you got something there, especially as an entrepreneur. Especially as an entrepreneur. So that's all I've got, guys. Oh, the last thing is listen to your wife. I put that on there. Hi, babe. Listen to your wife. My wife, so the beef snob sampler, her idea. The farmer's market, I pushed back hard. I didn't want to do that. Every Saturday morning, we had to be there at 6 a.m. That's early. I don't do that. I don't get up that early for work. But 30% of our business, she's had some amazing ideas, and I'm very thankful that I've got such an expert as a wife, and also, a very good cook, except for that one spaghetti. That one time the spaghetti was spit out, that didn't work out so good. But anyway, so I don't know if I've got time for questions or not, but
I have time for a few questions.
Yeah, if you guys have anything, I'm an open book, man. If you haven't noticed so far, yes, Glenn.
And talk about the sacrifices you've made to start a business. I know you mentioned coaching baseball.
Yeah.
Getting up early, things like that.
Right. So, I had a nice job at the chamber, and COVID hit, and we saw the impact it had on my wife's family and my brother-in-law's family. I'm talking like my wife's family's had 12 deaths, 12 funerals. They've got a big family on the Mexican side. And then my brother-in-law's had, I think, 4 deaths in his family. And so we're like, man, we're not, being here is a big deal for me. That's why I'm wearing the mask. We're very cautious because of that. Well, at my job, they were allowed us to work remotely, but that worked out. But then it's like, hey, everybody needs to come back to the office. I'm like, man, I'm not coming back to the office. I'm just not. If we can work out something, work remotely, great, but I can't do that. And so, Barnesville and Beef is really a COVID baby. When I look back at all the things that happened, a lot of things that happened because of COVID, during COVID, has caused this to happen and to thrive. So, decided to part ways. That was a big deal. And at that point, I'm like, I've got to figure out how to make money, because Beef wasn't making money yet. We were reinvesting everything. And so that's when I had to start doing baseball and softball lessons. Well, I could do that in my sleep, and there's a big appetite for it in common. And I could probably turn that into a whole nother thing and do well there. But the only thing I don't like about it, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock is when you teach lessons, because that's when they're home from school. Well, who else is home from school? My daughter. Well, I'd like to hang out with her. So baseball has provided me an opportunity to bring in cash flow as the beef business starts to grow. And I'll probably still keep my foot in baseball and softball as long as I can, because I love it. I love working with these kids. I've taken kids that couldn't hardly play catch to being the starting pitcher on their 10-year-old team. As little as that sounds to maybe everybody else except for me and their parents and that kid, to me that's satisfying and fulfilling. Just like when somebody sends me a picture of a meal they cooked that they shared with their family, that's fulfilling and exciting for me. It's been, I'm working 6 days a week a lot of times. During the farmer's market, man, Saturday afternoons, I'm out. Don't call me. I'm not going to answer because I'm going to be asleep. And then that Sunday, I'm not just exactly, fired up, because I'm just worn out, especially in the summer. Golly, you're out there on that asphalt, 100-degree heat. I got a freezer. I'll go sit in there for a minute and cool off. But I got to get back to work at some point. but it's been a lot. It's been a big difference. And also, when you have, my wife works from home, and now I work from home. And during COVID, guess who else was home? Our 4-year-old, then 5-year-old. I need attention too. It's like, golly, how do you get anything done? It's been nuts. For me to be here just talking about this is a miracle. It really is. It really is. So yes.
Do you have any trouble? You mentioned you work like a 9-to-5 traditional job, and so then your stepdad handles the farming aspect, but it's like, okay, Ed, what are you gonna do today? What's your avenue? Are you gonna market? Are you gonna work on your logistics? So how did you get used to, okay, I make my own schedule, how am I gonna be as productive as possible?
I've always been a self-motivated person. Always. When I was 12 years old, I would go in the back of our house, and behind where my parents' bedroom was all brick. I would tape a strike zone, and I would spend 2 hours out there. Pow! Pow! And that was ingrained in me early. If you want to get better at something, you just got to go do it, and do it more often, and learn and learn and learn as you go. So getting the work done has never been a problem for me. And like Charlie, he never gets on to me, and I don't ever get on to him. Like, we literally work independent of each other, but so well together. And part of that's because we're not in each other's business.
Right. So, like, you can tell you wear many hats as far as running everything on
Right.
the farm. So how do you allocate your time? How do you just, obviously you got to start, but like,
Yeah.
you say, okay, every afternoon I work on my online presence, or every morning I work on, childhood meetings, community events, that kind of thing.
I wish it was that structured.
It's not.
It's not. It's a free-flowing thing. If you follow the Facebook page, there'll be a week or two where I may not post anything, and then next thing you know, you'll see a cluster of posts. I could probably get more consistent with some things I do, but here's what happens. I got 2 beef sitting in the trailer that I need to get out of there. I need to sell them. Hey, guys.
Okay.
I mean, it's reactionary, which is probably not the right way to do it, but as of right now, that's all I can do. Like there's the t-shirt thing, I've already planned on launching another campaign for t-shirts. I meant to do it last week, had a baby. So, I mean, that's thrown a lot of stuff off. But for the next 2.5 months, I'm like, man, my wife's at home. She gets to stay home for 3 months because of her job. Those European employers, man, they're nice. And she lived in Germany, but she'd be off for a year, which is insane. So I'm like, all right, 2.5 months. I don't have to deal with kids. I don't have to pick up, drop off for school. I can just focus on work. And I'm going to get as much in as I possibly can during these months. And another thing I think about is, how can I create things that work without me needing to do much? WooCommerce, okay, that's my online e-commerce platform. Once I got that up, and people can put their deposit down on the beef without even talking to me. Like it's got this great app. And whenever somebody buys something, you hear cha-ching. I love that sound. Cha-ching. One day I heard like 3 days, like every 10 minutes, like 3 in a row, cha-ching. Oh, it's beautiful. Then I've got all their information. I know what they want. They had notes in the comment section. So I'm trying to set up systems to where I don't have to do as much as I've been doing. There's still more to do. Like, for instance, when you order a half beef, I've got a cut sheet. How do you want your steaks? How do you want this steak, this specific steak, this steak? What about your roast? How do you like this? I need to get that online as well, so that way I'm almost hands-off altogether and just fulfill the orders. But am I efficient? Yes. I'm very organized and efficient, but not necessarily scheduled like I probably should be. But I know where everything is,
All right, well, that's all the time we have.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And if you want, I've got cards and brochures up here if you want to contact me if you have other questions. Man, I'm like I said, I'm an open book. I'll tell you what I know.
All right. Thank you, Ed, for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be here next month to hear from Jada at the Roots Agency. She is a recent or still in school, I'm not lying, at UCA. It's a marketing agency, so I hope you can all attend that. With that, have a great rest of your day.